$466,000 a year, 3 offer letters. He had no degree, no certifications, right? No tech experience. And this didn't start with ambition. He actually got fired, which caused him to take action. And in this video, I'm going to share with you exactly what he did. And he changed one thing about himself, and it was not his resume. Let's get into it. So I'm going to turn my camera around and show you some of his offer letters. Bear with me. And I want you to see exactly, there we go. I want you to see his offer letters, okay? So let's get into it. Hopefully you can see. Yeah, you can. So this was his first offer letter for $110,000 a year, okay? He joined the program 9 months ago with no IT experience and now starting his first DevOps role at the end of the month, right? This is my community. They're just congratulating him over here, right? Okay, so 110. And then he got another offer letter for $190,000, okay? Now, 110 plus 190 is $300,000 a year. And then he got another offer for $80 an hour, right? Which is around $166,000 a year, okay? And so I want you to keep this in mind. Opportunity came from a recruiter reaching out on LinkedIn. All of these offers, recruiters actually reached out to him. But how? How was he able to do this? Okay. Now, to be transparent, he left this one job and he's only doing these 2. And so right now he's currently making $354,000 a year. And in this video, I'm going to explain exactly how he's doing that. Okay. So bear with me. I got to get my camera all set up and then I got to get the zoom. Okay, cool. So in this video, I'm going to share with you exactly what he did to make this possible for him and to actually live the life that he truly deserves. And so, once again, no college degree, no certifications, no tech experience. And this is exactly how. So, to take it a step back, one morning, he actually left his job, right? He kind of got fired and left his job at the same time. And he didn't have any degree. He doesn't have a degree. He still doesn't have any certifications. So you see these things right here, degree, certifications. I fell for the biggest lie, right? And I guess you could say society when it comes to IT. You don't need certs. You don't need degrees. You need skills. Okay. And so going back to my student, he didn't know where to go. But he reached out and because he saw that, people were getting offer letters and he wanted to try something different. He's never been in tech. He didn't even know what a hard drive was. And he wanted to learn a new skill set that can actually make a lot more money. And he has a lot more time for himself. Okay. And so it was never really a credential problem for him. It was a skill problem. And so, if I want you guys to understand, if you do not have the income that you want, right? You don't have a luck problem, right? You most likely have a skill problem. Once again, if you do not have the income that you want, you most likely have a skill problem. What do I mean? Okay, I want you to think about it. Any job that you see out there, a teacher, right? A mechanic, a doctor. Me personally, I think teachers should be paid a lot more than what they're getting paid. Okay. But the market is always going to compensate you based on the skill sets that you possess. The market, not what I think, the market. And so the market, once again, is always going to pay you in direct reflection, right, of the skills that you have, right? Based on the skills that you have, right, the market is going to deem what is valuable, not me, not us. So if you don't have the income that you want, it's not a luck problem, it's a skill problem. And my student, he realized this. He realized that he didn't need credentials. I had a college degree, I had certifications, and I was still driving Uber Eats at 2 a.m. in the morning. Okay. And so that's not true in terms of getting a degree and getting certifications. Like you're going to break into tech. That's a security plus. I have my AWS CCP, where I have a college degree, and I was making $10 an hour. So it wasn't a credential problem. It was a skill problem for me too as well. And so I needed to learn the skill sets of cloud engineering to actually go from $35,000 a year, right? That's when I was an IT technician, all the way to $489,000 a year. Now, one thing I want you to understand, right? And this is another point, is that all he did was learn a high income skill. Once again, he learned a high income skill. Instead of collecting information. A skill set is you having the ability to perform an action, right? That's maybe specialized, okay? That can actually solve a problem. So, for example, I needed to pay somebody to set up this light right here, okay? I needed to pay somebody to set this up on TaskRabbit because I didn't want to do it myself, okay? Really just the time, right? Because I didn't have the time. And so what he did to go from $0, literally, he did not have a job, all the way of getting 3 offer letters, total $466,000 a year. He learned AWS Cloud Engineer skill set. He learned the tech stack, Docker, Kubernetes, Terraform, Ansible, right? SQL, Python, computer networking, right? Computer hardware, right? CI/CD, like Jenkins, GitLab, CI, GitHub Actions, right? Monitoring with like Prometheus and Grafana, right? That's like the cloud engineer tech stack, okay? So he learned the skill set. He learned what these things are, how to use it, and why it's important in a real world scenario. Then once he did that, he actually built projects. Now, he didn't go out there and get a certification. I don't in my program, I don't teach people how to go for certs, because I did this. I followed this pathway and I got Uber Eats. I mean, the benefit was I was eating McDonald's fries, stealing people's fries. You know, you can poke a bag in the hole and, you know, get a little, I'm just kidding. But to be serious though, like I followed this roadmap and it didn't get me what I want. And then I had a mentor who showed me this path and it made sense, right? Companies are going to hire you because you can solve their problems, right? Because if you can solve their problems, the company makes a lot more money. And so I was studying certifications that taught me information. It didn't teach me how to solve problems. But when I learned the hands-on experience, the right problems to solve, which came from projects, I positioned that on my resume and I was able to talk about them on interviews. And that's how I got my first offer letter for $135,000 a year. And then I job stack ethically and legally to $489,000 a year. And this was the same thing that my student did. He built projects, AWS Cloud Migration Project, knowing how to containerize application and deploy that on infrastructure and automating that process using Jenkins or GitHub Actions, right? There's different CI/CD tools you can use, right? And so, but understanding the problem that companies have in today's market, not just any project you see on YouTube, the problems that they have today, because that's why they're hiring. If you pause this video and type in AWS Cloud Engineer, remote jobs, cloud migration on Google, you'll see what I mean. And so the market is not going to pay you for what you studied, like for certifications, okay? The market is going to pay you for the problems that you can solve. That was a bar. The market is not going to pay you for what you studied. The market is going to pay you for the problems that you can solve, because if you can solve their problems, now you are valuable. You're bringing value to the company because you're saving them a lot of money. Okay. Now, the next point I want to make is there's 5 ways of getting an offer letter. And 99% of people only know about one way. And it has the lowest conversion rate to an offer letter. So about a year and a half ago, I paid almost 5 figures for a mentor. And he has like 25 years of experience as a recruiter. He has his own business now. He doesn't recruit anymore, but he's still in the industry. And he literally told me he would put out a job application for the company, and he didn't even look through any resumes. So most people, 99% of people, only know about one way of getting an offer letter, and that's to apply to jobs. There's 4 different ways that has a higher converting rate. Okay. What my student did, I taught him the other 4 ways, and he really leveraged one of them to get these offer letters to come to him. So if you saw in the beginning of the video, he literally typed the recruiter reached out to him. Really, that happened to all of his offers, but he just talked about it on that specific one. On my Slack community, this recruiter reached out. How is he able to get recruiters to reach out to him? And then also, it has a higher converting rate to an offer letter. What he did was he understood how to brand himself. He understood how to put himself in the market as a solution to the problem that companies have for cloud engineers. He was posting some of his work on LinkedIn. He was positioning his LinkedIn profile, because LinkedIn is a search engine. You can search different profiles like recruiters can based off of keywords. And based on the keywords that's on your LinkedIn profile, your name will pop up on page 1 or page 2 on LinkedIn Recruiter. Like IAC, Terraform, CI/CD, EC2. These are some of the SEO words that he strategically positioned himself on LinkedIn, right? And there's a lot of other things that goes into this, but it's just to say he learned how to brand himself. There's 5 ways of getting an offer letter, and 99% of job seekers only know about one way, and it has a 2 to 3% converting rate. There are 4 other ways that has a higher converting rate. Okay. Now, the other point I want to emphasize is that he was able to job stack ethically and legally. Now, what does this mean? Now, it's very known in the IT space of people getting jobs, working multiple jobs, and they're keeping it under the table, right? And they're not really saying anything. But you don't want to do that. And if you're watching this video and if you're doing that, you're at risk of being blacklisted if the company was to figure that out. Okay? You don't want to break any compliance. You don't want to break any rules. Okay? You want to be able to make sure. So what we do in our company, right, with my students, we show them how to leverage cloud consulting, like have an actual business that you get C2C contracts under, because their business, like the cloud company, they're reaching out to your business for work, and they're paying you based off of deliverables, not per hour. Now, some contracts, it could be per hour, right? But the contracts that we go for is deliverables, okay? Within like 6 months or 3 months, just depending on the project, okay? And they have a budget allocated for those deliverables. You say they don't pay you based on hours, they pay you based on deliverables, okay? And so we're able to position ourselves as a company, a cloud consulting company, and there's a lot that goes into that, but we're able to get multiple contracts to increase our income to $500,000 a year. So now, just to take it a step back, excuse me, I got another sneeze. So just to take it a step back, yeah, I'm not going to edit that out because I want to be as authentic as possible. But just to take it a step back, we're able to leverage C2C contracts to increase our income, and we're leveraging 2 things: the opportunity to do C2C contracts and the skill set of cloud engineering, because cloud engineering has 6-figure opportunities, remote and C2C. We're able to get multiple contracts. And if you're able to actually scale your income, you can actually outsource your work to other cloud engineers within your company. So it's a way that you can make a lot more money and work less. Okay. Now, the thing that I want to emphasize is this stuff is not rocket science. There's a lot of people that I've seen online that overcomplicates this stuff. Okay. There's a way to break things down in a bite-size, in a bite-sized way. My student did not have any tech experience. He didn't have any college degree certifications, right? He was forced to learn this because he got fired. And kind of like both, he got fired and he left his job. It was at the same time. You know, when you're about to get fired and then you leave, right? And so it's just to say there is a way to learn this. And I say this all the time on all my testimonial videos. If you go to my YouTube channel, it's like a bunch of testimonial videos of people getting offer letters. If you go to my Instagram, you'll see, my highlights. You'll see a bunch of offer letters. And I tell people on every testimonial video on YouTube, you don't have to join my program. Okay, there's YouTube University. You can learn this stuff for free. Right? It's going to take a lot longer and harder because you have to find information. You'll still get there. You can join another program. But for my program specifically, we don't just accept anybody. Okay. We have to make sure that you're the type of person to follow step-by-step blueprint. Okay. And we work with those people who are committed to actually doing the work. Okay. And so I'll leave a link in the description below to apply if you're interested. Once again, you don't have to. But then also, I recommend you look at the testimonial videos that will be linked in the video in the description, so you can see not just, one person, but there's a lot of people that's able to live the life that they truly deserve, have more money and more time to spend with their family and loved ones and experience life because they're able to leverage this skill set. And so if you're interested, go ahead and click the first link in the description below, and I'll see you in the next video.